Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. And special session today on Friday due to the holiday on Monday. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure, all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug B. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. You can post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X. My name there is @DougPless. Here are the key tenets to my approach to trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, certainly in the large cap tech stocks like the Magnificent Seven stocks, as well as equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of the index, and the ES futures contract is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index. And the NQ futures contract is a derivative of NDX. And just like the S&P 500, when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned at the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as their directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap, real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, and for setups. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. Setups in that asset can be taken with futures contracts, shares of stock, or options, depending on the way you like to trade. And if you were a put buyer today, you most likely had a very good day today. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Hello, Dan P. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, here's my agenda for today, Friday, February 21st. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events for today. Then I'll go over my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. Then I'll take a look at the live market. When I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started. Today is the February monthly options expiration. And this is the options expiration delta notional for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. What this graph is showing is market makers delta notional on the vertical axis by expiration on the horizontal axis. Over on the left here, this is the expiration today. That's the February expiration. This is the March quarterly expiration. And you can see it's much, much larger, but both are call dominated. Orange bars represent positive delta notional, call delta notional. Blue bars, the blue bars are negative delta notional, put delta notional. So a call dominated expiration, of course, some of that call positive gamma that has been supporting the market is expiring. Some of that already expired. We'll take a look at some of that gamma that already came away with the SPX AM expiration. All right, so call dominated expiration, looking for a weakness after a call dominated expiration. That's pretty typical. That actually started yesterday. All right, so that's options expiration. Now let's take a look at the S&P 500. This is the S&P 500 index. Also today, Michigan consumer sentiment came out 10 a.m. That came out less than expected, less than previous. Not really much of a market reaction, but overall, of course, very bearish today. And that started right around the open, maybe just a couple of minutes before the open. All right, so this is let's move on now to positional analysis. Again, this is the S&P 500 ES futures in Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I want to take a look at a higher time frame. I'm going to start with the SPX. And this is the 1 day, 1 year chart in Thinkorswim for SPX. Overall, this rally is still intact. Now let's take a look at a 30-day, 1 hour chart. Recent downtrend line. And last Thursday, SPX broke above that level, traded up to almost 61.50, made a new high. Broke down yesterday, and then that continues today. For a while, it looks like that downtrend line was going to hold as support, and that is no longer the case as SPX has broken down pretty substantially below the lower daily expected move and now testing the lower weekly expected move. All right, so let's take a look at the levels on this chart, starting with the expected moves. Dash purple line showing the lower and upper weekly expected move based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from last Friday. Those levels remain in place for the entire week. Then the dash blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move, also based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from yesterday. I do post those levels in Discord every day, the evening before. All right, let's take a look at the Spotgamma level. So, of course, now SPX trading well below the lower daily expected move and has tested the lower weekly expected move. All right, let's take a look at the Spotgamma levels on this chart. I'm going to start with talk about the key daily levels. First of all, here's the put wall at 6,000. That's a strike with the largest negative gamma that can be expected to act as resistance support, and that level did move up from yesterday. So the put wall has oscillated between 5,900 and 6,000 from day to day. Today it did move up to 6,000. Next level up is the volatility trigger VT at 60.95. Then a Spotgamma's proprietary volatility and gamma flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to enhance or increase volatility, and that's exactly what has happened today. So SPX started the day in positive gamma, but now has dropped down below that volatility trigger into negative gamma. And just above that is the absolute gamma strike at 6,100. That's the strike with the largest absolute gamma. That's where most of the gamma-weighted open interest is concentrated. And then the call wall remains at 6,200. That's a strike with a large net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. All right, shifts in levels for the SPX. Put wall shifted higher, absolute gamma strike shifted lower. And for SPY, the volatility trigger shifted lower, and the put wall also shifted higher. And we'll take a closer look at the put wall for SPY in just a couple minutes. And let's wrap up our view of SPX with a 1 minute chart. So I've got 2.5 days worth of data. So this is yesterday. Sharp drop after the open, consolidation, and then in the afternoon SPX rallied. And it was looking like today might be the same. Sharp, not quite as sharp a move lower, but a move lower at the open. A little bit of a gap down. Looked like SPX might move up, but then broke down pretty sharply just after noon. Then down to the lower weekly expected move. So the pattern of yesterday looked like, again, it might play out, but that is not the case. The S&P 500 has broken down. And so key levels, again, there's the lower weekly expected move, lower daily expected move, right around the lower weekly expected move, acting as support, and SPX trading well below its volatility trigger at 60.95. All right, back to Bookmap. So in Bookmap, I have my own notes here so I can show SPX levels, SPY levels, and key levels for ES. So here's that 60.95 volatility trigger. And the SPY volatility trigger is pretty much at the same level, 608. So they're right on top of each other. So after about 10:15, the S&P 500 traded below both volatility triggers. Key levels, and something to always pay attention to. So a break below the volatility trigger, you're looking for faster movement into negative gamma with market makers trading with price. Period of consolidation, kind of 10:30 to 12 noon lunchtime chop, and then a big breakdown right afternoon. Below this is the lower daily expected move for ES, and this is the lower weekly expected move for ES. A little bit different than the SPX. I do calculate those separately. I mentioned the 605 put wall for SPY. Price is broken down below that level. Now, if we look a little further down, here's the SPX 6000 put wall. So that's the next key gamma level down below. There is a difference in price between ES and SPX. And today it's right around 16 points. So I'm showing SPX 6000 at ES 6016. All right, so that's the S&P 500 levels in play. We'll talk about setups in a few minutes. Again, shifts in levels, mixed picture for SPX, put wall up, absolute gamma strike down, SPY volatility trigger down, put wall up. On to NASDAQ, NQ futures and Bookmap, similar chart. Drop at the open, consolidation 10:30 to 12, then a drop again. Let's take a look at the underlying index charts. Start with QQQ. Looks like I need to add more lines down below. Key levels in play. Note the 540 call wall resistance before the cash open. QQQ has broken down below its volatility trigger as well at 535. Now trading below 530. All right, let's take a look. So that's over a 10-point drop if you start it before the cash open. Let's take a look at NDX. NDX dropped down below its volatility trigger. So SPX, SPY, NDX, QQQ, all trading below their volatility triggers, and negative gamma. And also the NDX put wall has been broken now. So NDX trading down below its put wall at 21,820. All right, shifts in levels for NASDAQ. NDX, put wall shifted higher, call wall shifted lower. And for QQQ, there was a bearish hat trick. Volatility trigger, call wall, and absolute gamma strike all shifted lower. So definitely a bearish thesis for QQQ today. All right, so again, just like ES, I have NDX and QQQ levels on this chart. There's the 820 put wall, the volatility triggers. And I believe the next, for QQQ, the next level down is the 520 put wall. And right now, QQQ is trading right around 529. And NQ trading below its lower weekly expected move and lower daily expected move. Again, we'll talk about setups in a few minutes. All right, let's wrap up our position analysis by taking a look at gamma. So let's go to gamma notional at the beginning of the day. So as I mentioned, at the beginning of the day, market maker's position on the gamma curve was positive. It's gamma notional at the beginning of the day for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. So these numbers are positive for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, negative for Russell 2000. All numbers shifted lower from yesterday, so mildly positive gamma at the beginning of the day, again, for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. All right, let's take a look at, and the reason I look at gamma, again, is because it will help me to gauge potential volatility and price movement in the market. Again, positive gamma, I'm looking for slower grinding price action, mean reverting. And in negative gamma, I'm looking for faster moves, larger moves, with market makers trading with price in the direction of price. All right, so let's step back in time. Let's go back to 9:30. So you can see at the open here, SPX, we'll go to let's go to 940. All right, so SPX, we have a couple candles here. Trading positive gamma, that's the blue shading. Note also the change in gamma at the open. And let's just take a look. This may be difficult to see. Let me zoom in just a bit. This shading here may be difficult to see. We can look at the numbers. So I'm looking right around 61.15. You can see gamma notional there, 210. After the open, 81. So that is, remember I mentioned the SPX has two expirations on the monthly options expiration dates, AM settlement and PM settlement. So that's after the AM settlement. Some of that positive gamma is already gone after the open at 9:30. So a shift from 210 or 210 before to 81 after. All right, let's move forward in time. It's shown as the hedge wall here, but for an index, it is the volatility trigger. So at this point, SPX is broken below the 60.95 volatility trigger. And we're looking at the shading of the chart here. Again, blue positive gamma, and we'll see in a minute red negative gamma. So a little bit of blue positive gamma support here, but negative gamma up above. All right, so that's the current view of gamma. And we'll take a look at charm pressure right now. We'll get back to this in a minute. So this red is showing selling pressure. So that is from time decay. That is to be expected, especially on options expiration. This time decay, this charm is the change in delta. It's a second order Greek, change in delta as time passes. So we know a lot of options are expiring today, calls. So we have negative or bearish selling pressure from charm, from time decay, as illustrated here with charm pressure. All right, let's go back to gamma, then we'll get back to this in a minute. All right, so based on this, my thesis for the day was looking for more volatility after the open, after that AM expiration. And the direction of price, really looking for more volatility. Direction of price really depended on some stocks and reaction to news, and also what options traders are doing. So let's see what options traders are doing. So now let's move on to execution, real-time data. Other than trace, everything that we've looked at in Bookmap, everything that we've looked at has been based on static data. Now let's move on to real-time, to execution, and we'll start off by taking a look at the S&P 500 and seeing what options traders have been doing today. So this is the hero signal. Hedging impact to real-time options is available to Spotgamma subscribers. This is the S&P 500 index signal showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for the S&P 500 index components. That's SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. Call line is for, the orange line is for calls, blue line for puts. And it's pretty obvious from this chart that buyers are driving price. That's shown by the falling blue line. When traders buy puts, market makers sell the puts, they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. So in the index signal, put buyers driving price. Let's zoom in on this just a little bit. And this really got going, the hero signal, right around 10 o'clock. Looks like a little bit of an institutional block order there, large block order of someone buying a lot of puts. All right, let's take a look now at the equity signal. What this is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity for all 500 stocks in the S&P 500 index. and pretty obvious that it is bearish pretty much from the open. Note there was a delay in Hero, and I think in Trace. It was frozen for the first 7 minutes. Made it a little bit difficult to trade the opening drive in stocks, but it's pretty clear here in the S&P 500 that this was bearish from the open. Traders, bearish continuation, bearish momentum. Traders buying puts and selling calls. Very clear bearish signal. And that really continues. Looks like there was a little bit of the put buyers took the foot off the gas during that 10:30 to noon chop, and then they started buying puts again, continued to sell calls. Price started to move lower again. Now looks like a little bit of a slowdown here as the S&P 500 has approached that positive gamma, potential support down below. And that's where traders are selling puts. All right, back to the index signal. Also slowing down here. Now looks like, again, showing traders are selling puts in the index. Just what, that's exactly what that trace gamma heat map is showing. They're also buying calls now. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap now. Go back to ES. Let's zoom in just a bit. We'll go to 1 o'clock. So compared to yesterday, the opening drive was bearish, not as bearish as yesterday, and this consolidation that looked like it might, again, behave like yesterday and rally up. That did not happen. And the move down continued after noon. Let's take a look at the subchart. Actually, all right, you can see in the subchart here, one key driver price other than options traders had been sell stop orders fueling the move lower. That's shown by the falling yellow line. Overall, cumulative volume delta is negative. But you can see sell stop orders more than twice the size of CVD. And it looks like now large traders are coming in buying with iceberg orders. That's shown by that sharply rising light blue line, helping to stabilize the market along with a positive gamma and the put sellers. All right, so that's the S&P 500. Let's take a look at NASDAQ now. Again, similar chart, bearish opening drive, consolidation 10:30 to 12, then a drop down again. And let's check Hero. Let's go to the NASDAQ signal. This is the index signal. For NASDAQ, let me check one thing. Let's check NDX. All right. So this is distorting the NASDAQ signal. So the NASDAQ signal is the index signal for the NASDAQ, showing options trades, market maker hedging activity for NDX and QQQ. And this is typical of expiration day. There's some fund buying calls. Very algorithmic steadily buying calls. Looks like now that has stopped. So that's driving that NASDAQ signal. Showing that activity in the index. So let's zoom in, I'm sorry. So we can see earlier in the morning. Overall bearish, traders selling calls and buying puts. Let's go to Mag 7. This is similar to the S&P 500 index equity signal, except this is only the Mag 7 stocks. Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. So the equity signal is really the Mag 7 plus 493. All right, so very similar chart to the S&P 500 equities. Traders selling calls and buying puts. Zoom in a bit. That really accelerated after 10. A little bit of a call peak here. Actually, 2 call peaks. And we'll see this in Meta, these call peaks. And pretty typical bearish reversal signal. So this really gets going after just a few minutes after 10 as traders start more aggressively selling calls and buying puts. So now it looks like a little bit of stability. Traders have stopped selling calls and stopped buying puts. All right, back to Bookmap, back to NQ. So NQ continues to move lower. The only gamma level remaining on the board for QQQ is the 520 put wall. Looking at the subchart here, again, sell stop orders, helping to fuel the move lower, shown by the yellow line. Here, cumulative volume delta pretty steadily falling. Not quite as large, this is contract size, as stop orders, but also fueling the move lower. And not a whole lot of iceberg activity for the NASDAQ. So in a move like this, there are multiple opportunities to enter short. Just look for the pullbacks. As the hero signals continue to move lower. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. And DK asks, can we see the current SPY heat map, please? Is there a new put floor? Welcome, DK. Not quite sure what you mean for the SPY heat map. Are you talking about Bookmap? So SPY has already dropped down below the put wall. At 605 and really continues to move lower. Looks like some aggressive sellers are coming in. So this chart is a little bit more clean than the ES chart, fewer levels. So just looking at this, if you were trading SPY, and this is afternoon, a little bit cleaner chart. Cumulative volume delta falling. Whoops. Just afternoon. Then starting to fall again. let's take a look at one thing here. Let's go back to market overview, close this. So here's the list of all the levels. So next level's down for SPY. After the put wall, 600 large gamma 3, 595 large gamma 4. Here's QQQ, C520, next level down, so 530, then 520 down below that. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. I want to start with Amazon. So I've got 4 Mag 7 stocks to take a look at, and then 2 other stocks. All right, so this is Amazon. Bearish hedging flow, key levels 222.50 hedge wall and 220 put wall key gamma strike. And let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go to Amazon. Steady downtrend. Opening drive. Bearish opening drive. Other than that, a little bump in the calls. The hero signal has been bearish. Traders selling calls, buying puts. 222.50 hedge wall. Right here, Amazon broke through that. 220 key gamma strike put wall. Amazon sliced right through that. Notice there was a little test. Nice reversal right there at the 222.50 hedge wall, and then price continued lower. Consolidation 10:30 to 12. Then price starts to move lower again. So options traders pretty clearly driving price in Amazon today. Cumulative volume delta is rising. So it's definitely options traders driving price today. Buying puts and selling calls. All right, back to Hero. Bearish opening drive except for this. Actually a nice call peak. Consolidation. Then traders start buying calls, buying puts and selling calls again. All right, so that's Amazon. Next chart, Google. Looks like call sellers definitely driving price today. That really got going right around 10:20. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Call and put line pretty flat up until about 10:20. Call sellers come in and price moves lower. Note 185 is the hedge wall key gamma strike. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Test of 185 just after the open. Price moves lower. Just like Amazon, they're buyers. Positive cumulative delta, but options traders definitely driving price today. And 180 is the put wall. 180 put wall so far doing its job, acting as support. And that was definitely the target for this move lower. All the high liquidity 181, especially 180, those are limit buy orders, acting as a magnet for price. Back to Hero. Next stock I want to take a look at is Meta. Traders are selling calls and buying puts. 702.50 hedge wall, 700 key gamma strike, 692 put wall. Meta trading below all of those levels. Let's go take a look at Bookmap and really call sellers driving price and Meta. Oh, and one thing I did want to point out. These call peak patterns. Again, a very reliable bearish reversal signal. Two call peaks right about 9:45 and 10:10. Let's take a look at Bookmap, go to Meta. Here are the two call peaks. So Meta 702.50 is the hedge wall. Let's check the other levels again. $700 key gamma strike, 692.50 put wall. So it looks like that level held, the put wall level held, just like Google. All right, back to Bookmap. No, it didn't. Let's see. Looks like it did earlier. Let me go back to Hero. Oh. Yeah, I need to zoom all the way out. So a little bit of support at the put wall. Then Meta broke down below that level. All right, that's Meta. Let's take a look at Tesla. Any questions about any of this? Either the indexes or stocks? Here's Tesla, key levels, 352.50 hedge wall, 350 key gamma strike, 340 put wall. Notice up until about 10:15, call line and the put line were both pretty flat. Then there was already one institutional order there selling calls. Another came in just before 10:15, and that's when price really got going to the downside. Traders followed on after that institutional kickoff, and they started selling calls and buying puts. So again, institutional kickoff. Then smaller traders jump on that, start selling calls, buying puts, and Tesla moves lower. Breaks down below the hedge wall and the key gamma strike. Here's Tesla. Let's zoom in on this. Sorry about this. Takes a little while to get the chart adjusted. All right, so there's your short setup right there. Trend break. Couple of tests of the 352 level. Price trading below VWAP. Institutional kickoff calls, and price moves lower. All right, 340. Let's go back to Hero. All right, 340 is the put wall. And it looks like Tesla has tested that level a couple of times. Traders continue to sell calls. $340 put wall. Price broke down below that level after one test. Traded back above, now below again. All right, so that's Tesla. Now let's take a look at a couple of other stocks. And I've got one that is available in Hero and one that is not. So BABA, let's take a look at that first. All right, kind of a choppy move higher in the morning. And again, that delay, that problem with Hero early in the morning made trading the opening drive a little bit difficult. But this was a nice long setup. This pulled back right down to the point of control, right down to the opening print. This is the market pulse price change indicator showing this extreme. Good entry point for long. Cumulative volume delta starts to rise. Let's see what options traders are doing. So bucking the trend here, Chinese stocks have been pretty strong recently, and this looks like it was a follow through from the earnings report earlier the week. So let's see what options traders are doing at BABA. So again, remember there was a little bit of delay, about 7 minutes with Hero on this morning before it got started. It was frozen after the open for the first 7 minutes. But this is showing that bullish opening drive as BABA pulled down again to that opening print level, point of control, and a very short opening drive for about up until about 10 o'clock. Call buyers took their foot off the gas, call exhaustion, and price stopped moving higher. Now consolidating. All right, so that's BABA, bullish opening drive into call exhaustion as call buyers take the foot off the gas. And that was right around 10 o'clock. As, again, kind of a choppy opening drive, but a move up to the high liquidity at 145. Limit sell orders that came in the order book before the cash open right there. That's the cash open. Normally, these orders come in at the cash open. For BABA, they were there before the open. Limit sell orders acting as magnets for price. So if you got in around 142, 3-point move in BABA. And hard for a stock to move higher when there's such weakness in the rest of the market. All right, so that was in the news. Let's talk about the news a little bit. And I'm going to go here, show you this tool that I've been using called Edge to Trade. And this is constantly scanning the market. And I have a breakout scan and a breakdown scan. And BABA was shown on this scan early in the morning before the cash open. So I put it in my trading list here. So that's BABA. There was another stock that was in my list this morning, Celsius. It rallied up. You can see the change in Celsius This is from the close yesterday, up almost 29%. But from the open today, it is actually down about 3.5%. So most of the move happened overnight. This is the chart for Celsius here, Celsius Holdings, energy drink maker. You can see most of the move higher was, this is after the earnings report yesterday afternoon. That was at the post-market overnight, and then chop today. So not much going on in Celsius after the open today. Really after the after that move up yesterday afternoon. Here's another stock that I want to point out. This InnoData stock. Now, I don't have the entire activity log here. I keep this running on another computer. And this activity log showed that InnoData came in on the scanner at 9:32. I showed another stock like this on Wednesday. So let's take a look. So this, and most of the move higher happened very quickly, very short bullish opening drive. This shaded portion here is the regular trading hours. So you can see that bullish opening drive. Let's take a look at that on Bookmap. So the notice came in, the alert came in at 9:32. Go to InnoData. So there's that bullish opening drive. Now this stock does not have hero data available. Alert came in right around 9:32. So if you got in right around 62, let's say, even 63, InnoData rallied up to 70, so a nice move. So you still could have caught about a 10% move in that stock if you got in when the alert came in. All right, so another way to find stocks. And let's say you did want to confirm options activity in that stock. Oops. One way to do that is, since it does not have hero data, is to go to this tape. This is a new tool available in Spotgamma, showing this tape, showing options activity. So you can see the orange all call activity. And this is stopped right around 10. But you can see all the call buyers in there. Scrolling down. Call buyers driving price higher. So not nearly as convenient as Hero. Takes a little bit more work to see this data. But that does confirm that traders were buying calls in InnoData here. All right, questions, comments? All right, let's go back. Let's take a look at the indexes. Let's go back to Hero. Check the S&P 500. SPX continues to move lower. Again, next level down is the 6,000 put wall. And SPY trading well below its 605 put wall. Check the equity signal. Still continues to grind lower. Let's check Trace. Right now, Trace is showing that SPX is trading in positive gamma. Some put sellers down below. Let's check Charm. So it looks like the potential pinning target is right here. at 60.10. Shown with buying support below, selling pressure above, all the vortex lines leading right down to that point. So that's the very clear potential pin target for SPX today is 60.10. And that would be ES 60.26 just below, right below the SPY 600 large gamma 3 level. Zoom in on this just a bit. Looks like large traders continue to fade this move. With iceberg orders, they continue to buy. With iceberg orders, again, they use their iceberg orders to hide their size. Any questions? Does anyone have any stocks they want me to take a look at? Let's check NASDAQ. Oops. All right, Suresh wants to take a look at micro algo. I believe that is. I saw that in my small cap scanner as well. Let's go take a look at that. Then we'll take a look at NASDAQ. And I'm just going to go to Edge to Trade. We can take a look at it here. Actually, let's go to the small cap scanner. It's MLGO. I assume that's what you're referencing. MLGO. Micro algo. Chinese stock. Rallying 750% today. So if you got long, this was actually in my scanner before the open. Very nice long setup here. If you got in right around $3, you definitely hit a home run. It's trading almost up to $10 today. So if you like to trade small caps, very bullish move here in micro algo. Up 700 and now 70%. 780%. Suresh, thanks for pointing that out. And James asked the COVID stocks. Looks like the same stocks that Slotarazi. So I don't have any of those in Bookmap. Let's take a look in here in Hero, Moderna. Whoops. Looks like there's been some activity this afternoon, some call buyers coming in. There's Moderna. Must have been some news. Let's see. Let's give it an Edge to Trade. We can type in Moderna here. Let's go. All right, Moderna Novavax rise as new bat coronavirus identified in China. You can see that spike higher. Pfizer. Also moving higher. Not quite the move as Moderna. Novavax, sharp move higher. Not a lot of range. Right around just under $8 to $8.50. J&J. And nice steady trend, uptrend in J&J all day. Let's check Hero real quick. I don't know if we'll check Invex. Yeah, one spike higher on calls, J&J. Steady call buying all day in J&J. All right, let's wrap up. Let's take a quick look at the S&P 500. And SPX continues to grind lower. The S&P 500 index signal has stopped, but the equity signal continues to move lower. And again, it looks like the 6,000 put wall, definitely the likely target. Back to Bookmap. One last check of charm. Still showing that 60-10 level as the potential pin target today, 10 points above the put wall. All right, everyone, I want to thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks again. Bye.